Hello, this is Anthony Digmann coming to you from Dyersville, Iowa, the home of the St. Francis Xavier Basilica and the Field of Dreams. And I am so excited that this October I will be coming back to Granger, Iowa for another parish mission. I think it was a couple of years ago. I joined you guys and we did a National Eucharistic Revival parish mission. That was part of the National Eucharistic Revival. And now I'm going to be coming back and we're going to be doing actually the very first parish mission that I ever started doing many years ago, one that is really dear and close to my heart, called Why God, Why Christian, Why Catholic? Evidence for Faith. You see, if I can be totally honest with you, I'm a bit of a St. Thomas, a doubting Thomas type figure. I'm the kind of person who really appreciates evidence for my faith and for what I'm going to believe in. I'm not the kind of person who will just believe, oh yeah, okay, God's real and Christianity is true and I should be a Catholic. So this parish mission, we're specifically going to be diving into the evidence for each of those three questions. Why God? Why believe in God? Atheism is absolutely rampant in our culture. So this first talk will be addressing that. And while we wrestle with the question of God and ask, what evidence do we have for God's existence for maybe skeptical people in our lives or maybe even ourselves, we'll also take a look at the role and the relationship between science and religion and how faith and reason come into play in that process. And we'll also be exploring some very significant Catholics throughout history who were also incredibly significant contributors to the sciences as well. And then our second talk, we'll take a look at why Christianity. So in a world in which there are just dozens and even beyond, but dozens of large international religious groups, why should somebody be a Christian? And we'll look at how that really hinges on the person of Jesus Christ. But where do we get most of the evidence and information that we have about Jesus Christ? Well, that comes from the New Testament. So as we're digging into that specific topic, we also need to unpack how reliable is the New Testament as a historical source, so that we know how reliable is it that we can trust what we're reading about this information about Jesus Christ, who is the central linchpin of all of Christianity. And I'll sum this up for you. If Jesus Christ is who he says he is, if he's the divine Son of God who became man, died on the cross, rose again from the dead, then that changes everything. And no other world religion can claim anything even close to that. I mean, that just completely revolutionizes everything in human history. And that's the central question. Is Jesus who he says he is or not? Because if he is, then Christianity is the absolute core of all of humanity. If he's not, then you can go explore all the world's religions, which I did when I was 18 years old. And I currently teach a college course on world religions, so I could get to continue to explore that. And then our third talk, which is sometimes the most popular, is why Catholic? So in the United States, certainly in our local environment, there are many different kinds of Christians, okay? And these Christians, everything that we'll take a look at in the first two talks, the first two nights, why God and why Christian, can certainly apply to other Christians as well. Evidence for God, evidence for Christianity. And then the third night, we'll take a look at specifically, okay, if God exists, and if Christianity is true and it's all real, then why should I be a Catholic as opposed to any other different denomination? So that, especially in that talk, and all of this really relates to my own faith journey, my own faith struggle, which I'll share more with you at the parish mission. I was 18 years old. I was just on the fence about whether or not God existed. I really appreciated science, and I thought that disproved God. I didn't know if anything was really true that I had been taught growing up as a Catholic, as a cradle Catholic all those years. And I had a faith experience, and I realized I have to find out if this stuff is actually true. So I launched into a faith study that eventually led me to be convinced that God exists, that Christianity is true, and that if I'm going to be a Christian, I ought to be a Catholic, and every Christian ought to be a Catholic. So I've been teaching this for about 18 years at Beckman Catholic High School as part of an apologetics class for seniors. And then I probably took this on the road as a parish mission maybe 2015, somewhere in that ballpark, and started to share this as parish missions as well, because the evidence is really incredible that I share with seniors in high school, and it's been really well received in many places. So I'm really excited to bring this to Granger and to be able to take a look at with you the evidence for God, for Christianity, and for our faith in Catholicism. So I will see you soon in October. If you want more information, check out anthonydigmann.com. Check out all of the information that's going to be coming out from your local parish in the area. And I look forward to seeing you in October for Why God, Why Christian, Why Catholic, Evidence for Faith. God bless you.